think, from the manager as well. You think they've gone to Manchester City, conceded 6. They've come to Liverpool, conceded 7. These are places where you have to go and try and stop the opposition first and foremost. They haven't done that. I think the only time they possibly tried that was the home game against Manchester City. They played an extra midfield player. I think Fred, Eriksen and Casemiro played in that game. I think today, looking at that and looking at games going forward, the manager will be thinking, I need to stop teams before I think about going toe-to-toe with these teams. And I think they'll have a better chance of getting... No, not getting embarrassed anyway. It's difficult to watch that and not be embarrassed with the 7-0 result.
Yeah, and it's the heaviest loss of Erik ten Hag's career as well. But on the other side, Liverpool were ruthless. They were clinical.
They were. They scored virtually every chance in that second half. There were one or two, don't get me wrong, one or two other occasions, but they were pretty ruthless with whatever they got given. To say where'd you start? I mean, Gakpo was brilliant. Mo Salah breaking the record. But the overriding headline it's 7. I mean, you almost need to see it to believe it. It was stunning. And this is a Manchester United team that come into the game, you know, everybody raving about them. They're flying high. They're in all 4 competitions. Well, won 1 competition. They were still in 2 cup competitions. Maybe an outside chance of winning the Premier League. So they were coming here flying high, and the question marks really were by Liverpool's name. But that was just blown out of the water. And if there's ever a turning point for Liverpool, you know, to get back on track, then surely this is it.
Well, what an extraordinary weekend we've had so far, and in goals galore today as well. We didn't expect all of those goals, certainly, of course, in that fixture. 7 home wins on Saturday. City did their job, and then, of course, extraordinary, with virtually the last kick of the game in the 97th minute with Reiss Nelson. The leaders Arsenal did theirs. Victory for Villa, another crushing defeat for West Ham at Brighton. Finally, win for Graham Potter and Chelsea. 4th successive away defeat in all competitions for Spurs at Wolves. A big win for the bottom club Southampton at home to Leicester. Earlier on, Everton led twice at the City ground. 2 Brennan Johnson goals each time pegged them back, got Nottingham Forest a point as well. And we have to read this and say it to really believe it. In the Premier League at Anfield, between the 2 giants, Liverpool 7, Manchester United 0. The Premier League weekend is rounded off. The Monday night football is Fulham's trip across West London to face Brentford. So, as well as that staggering scoreline and all the rivalry, it's vitally important for Liverpool in the top 4 chase as well. They're now just 3 off it with a game in hand on Spurs. They have played 1 more than Newcastle. They're a point ahead of Eddie Howe's side. United stay in 3rd position, 4 clear of Spurs, having played a game less. At 2-1 and 1-0, Everton were out of the bottom 3 earlier, and Leeds were in it, but that equaliser for Nottingham Forest means Sean Dyche's side are still in the drop zone on goal difference, level on points now with Leeds, just 1 off West Ham and 2 off Leicester. Forest up to 26 points. Absolutely extraordinary. Just to put it into context, Manchester United's joint heaviest defeat in their history, and there's the other times they conceded 7. In 1926, then 30 and 1931. The last time they conceded 7 goals in a game, 92 years ago. We'll come to Mo Salah's numbers in a moment, but can you understand Jordan Henderson there, Michael? As a Liverpool player, to play in that fixture and look at the scoreline of 7, it will take some sinking in, won't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think anybody that walks in now and looks at the result, they must think, well, Manchester United must have gone down to 10 men in the first, maybe even 9 men.
Or there's an error on your TV screen.
Or there's something wrong with the TV, or we've made a mistake. But obviously none of those are true. It was just an incredible day at Anfield. And as I said earlier, Anfield has seen some of the most incredible nights and days of football over the years, but that's going to be ranked right amongst them. I mean, it's a monumental score, monumental effort. Monumental performance, and everything about it was staggering. I mean, you're still a little bit of shock now that this Manchester United team that are playing so well can get beat by anybody 7-0, but let alone their arch rivals.
Yeah, I mean that's the point, isn't it? As Michael said, we talked long and hard about United's form coming into this.
It's just a really freakish afternoon, I think. I don't think, as you mentioned before, 7 goals out of 8 chances. Everything did seem to fall perfectly for them. And I think the disappointing thing from United's point of view is when and I was mentioning before the game, waxing lyrical about the characters and leaders we've seen in the team. I think once you get to 3 or 4, you got your Casemiro, you got your Varane, playing in big games, big teams, you say, right, stay here, don't go anywhere, we're not conceding any more goals, we don't make this embarrassing. But unfortunately, Liverpool took all but one of their chances, and it was a freakish afternoon, but one United will have to accept.
Yeah, from a United point of view, a disaster, but from a Liverpool point of view, what a day. We're delighted to be joined by the captain, Jordan Henderson, live at Anfield. Now, Jordan, well done. Is that still sinking in, to win a game of that magnitude with that scoreline?
A little bit. We knew it was a big game coming into it. You know, United have been playing really well of late, just won a trophy, so we wanted to come here and perform to the levels we're capable of, and we had to out the day to get the result. And I thought overall the performance was top from everyone, and you get your rewards in the end. Particularly in that second half. Obviously, it was only 1-0 at half-time. I mean, what did that feel like in the second half? Attack after attack, and they all seemed to be going in. Yeah, we're sort of building momentum second half. I thought we started the game really well. You know, first 20-25 minutes was very good, and then maybe 10-15 minutes United got into it a little bit more. But second half, I thought we dominated for large parts, and we were clinical in front of goal, which is important.
Jordan, it's Michael here. I was just wondering what the mentality is after a result like that. One, you're obviously euphoric. It's a great scoreline, but of course, secondly, there's still a job to do. There's still been a disappointing season, and that respect as well for a team that are playing so well, that have already won a trophy. Where's the balance here between celebrating and obviously still being humble and pushing on for the season?
Well, I think you've got to enjoy it, you know, playing in big games like this against United. It's always a fantastic game, so to win it 7-0 is a big moment, really, and one I'm sure we'll look back on. So you've got to enjoy it, but at the same time, you're right, you need to stay humble. And at the end of the day, it's just another 3 points, and we've still got a long way to go to try and qualify for the Champions League at least. So it's another game. We've won, yep, enjoy it, but we'll move on quickly because the games come thick and fast, and we'll have another tough game next week against Bournemouth. Jordan, you know Mo Salah better than most. You see him day in, day out, what he puts into his game. To break Robbie Fowler's record of all people today, and in this fixture, in that magnitude as well, in front of the Kop, was that almost written in the stars for him? Yeah, it was a great night for him, and I'm delighted for Mo. You know, it's not a coincidence that he's hit these numbers. You know, he dedicates his life to the game, and first one in the training ground, last one out, always in the gym, doing the right things, eating the right things, and he gets his rewards. And tonight is an amazing night for him personally, but also for the team.
And Jordan, just looking at the league table there, I mean, it was only seemed a week or so ago that Liverpool were in 9th place, now up to 5th. Now with the Champions League in touch and distance, how important is it for a club of Liverpool's size, you know, in terms of recruiting players, keeping players, you know, big players happy in the Champions League? How important is that 4th place?
It's really important, you know, like you say, in the club like Liverpool need to be playing Champions League football. And yes, this season has been disappointing at times, and we haven't performed to the levels that we're capable of for different reasons. But I think we showed tonight we can still perform as a team. We've got a few big players that have come back over the last few weeks that's helped. And now it's about trying to keep everybody fit, trying to keep the energy levels and the performance levels high like they were today right till the end of the season. And if we do that, then we'll have a good chance. But yes, of course, it's big to try to get into that top 4 for next season. And just finally, Jordan, with 13 league games to go, what kind of bounce is a result like that today to give you now? It is a big result, you know, but the performance is the most important thing, I feel. You know, I think the performance level has been really important the last few weeks, especially Premier League. I feel as though this has been coming and performing for the full 90 minutes, which I feel as though we did today. But we need to continue that. We need to keep going, keep working for each other. And hopefully, like I say, we can go on a little run and end the season well. Very well done. Thanks for joining us. I do thank your umbrella holder as well, so we do appreciate that. Cheers. Thanks, Jordan. Cheers, see you. Big smile on the face of the Liverpool captain in the rain at Anfield. The other side of the story is Manchester United's heaviest defeat for 92 years. Here's their captain, Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno, you've had a few moments there in the changing rooms. Is it possible to explain exactly what happened there today?
The standard was not at our level. That's why we didn't get anything from the game. I think first half we did really well. We controlled the game. We had the most chances probably. Liverpool find the goal. Obviously, we came to the second half and we conceded too many goals from our mistakes and from positions where we should be aware of what Liverpool wanted from the game.
Like you say, at half-time, and even at 1-0, recently it felt like United would have and normally did come back from games like that. So what changed in that second half then?
Oh, as I said, we did too many mistakes. That is not at our standard, our level, the level we used to be. We gave too much space away for them to counter. We knew how good they could be in a counter-attack. It's one of the best weapons that they have, and we didn't control that good enough.
There's been an awful lot of games recently. There's been 4 matches since your last Premier League game alone. Is that starting to catch up now, the amount of games that are coming, and quite intense games as well, including that cup final?
We can't use that as an excuse. If you want to play for this top club, being in all the competitions, fight for all the competitions, we have to play all the games, and we have to want to play more and more often. So we can use that as an excuse. It's just our standard was not good enough, and that's it.
So how do you stop this having a big impact on the rest of the season now?
We had worse moments than this, and we came back from that. So it's obviously it hurts a lot. But it's still just one game. We lost 3 points. Even if he's doing with this kind of result, is again, as I said, as I always said, that big games don't give you more than 3 points, and obviously can get you all down of confidence and of everything. But the team has to have the belief, as always, because what we have done in the past has brought us into the position we are today, and this result can't change what is being our mentality.
Always appreciate you talking to me. Thanks.
That's the Manchester United captain. I get what he's saying, Paul, but as a Manchester United player, it isn't just 3 points lost there, is it? Given the scoreline and where it is and who it's against.
No, it's not. I do actually think he spoke quite well there. He wasn't looking for excuses. He's saying, being at a big club, you have to expect to play a lot of games during the season. Look, they have played a lot of games. I actually feel sorry for him when he's played, actually. He's been pushed out to many positions now to do a job for a team to accommodate people. He was on the left today. He's been on the right. He's played through the middle. He has been a little bit all over the place, and I don't think today. Well, you can't say any of the players performed the way they should have done, but I thought he was especially poor today. Really, it wasn't his greatest afternoon. But again, being played all over the place doesn't help you. I think there's a couple of players in that team that, when it comes to big games like this, I don't think they're quite at the level. I think the right back position could be a problem. They clearly need a centre forward if Martial's going to have the injury record he's got. And there are issues in the team, but it's difficult to be critical of this team for what's happened over the last so many games. And since that Brentford game, especially, look, there's been disappointments and there's been games where the keeper has had to save them at times, and they've come on and made changes and been different and made a difference to games, the substitutes especially, where they've given them a real lift when really they could have been out of games. But look, that is just such a freak. I keep saying the word freak.
So you're not concerned of any hangover going forward from this?
No, that's the big question now. I don't think so. I think, as I mentioned, with the characters that are in the team, the experience the manager's got, I think they'll come out of this okay. You have to be slightly worried, of course, but I think when you look back at it and you see they only created 8 chances, Liverpool at Anfield, I'll tell you what, in normal years, you'd probably accept that. But there's no way in a million years you'd expect them to score 7. Liverpool, I bet we've played against Liverpool. They've created 20, 25 chances in the past and not scored a goal. It was just such a freakish afternoon. And I'm glad that he won't blame tiredness. And it's how they react from this, really. As I said, they've got big experience in that team. They've got a squad now where they could possibly freshen up for Thursday night, especially play players who won't be scarred by what happened today. But I think there's a big job now from the manager and the support staff to really get this team lifted. Maybe just a couple of days off or something. Get away from that and refocus on an important end to the season.
The fact that United have lost away at Arsenal, City, and Liverpool now, is that just a guide as to perhaps they're just a fraction off the top two?
Well, I think so. I think we mustn't forget how far Manchester United have come, and we mustn't, all of a sudden think, right, they're title contenders and they're going to win everything, because they are still, a little bit behind the likes of Manchester City. You could argue they're, Arsenal and teams like that, they're hunting down, although Arsenal have gone again. But, I mean, in this great run that they had, and I asked Paul the question just before kick-off, they've been getting great results, but I've not really been out of my seat thinking, wow, this club is going to take the Premier League by storm, let's say, next season. I've been really impressed with the progress that Manchester United have made, but there's still a long way to go. And that was before today's result. Obviously, today's result makes you think that even more. One question I would have was, which Paul just raised before, would be team selection. There's one position on that pitch before today's game that everybody thinks, wow, this could be the match-winning area. Marcus Rashford against Trent Alexander-Arnold was on everybody's lips going into this game. And what does he do? He puts their best player in Rashford, or their most attacking threat, onto probably Liverpool's best couple of players themselves. Virgil van Dijk's one of the fastest, strongest, best players in the world. And yet he's already had loads of success on the left-hand side against Trent Alexander-Arnold. So that was a big surprise.
Well, could I play devil's advocate here? At half-time, it was only 1-0, and Rashford down the middle had a huge chance.
Yeah.
That probably wasn't in the conversation at half-time, was it?
Well, no. Go on, Michael, go on.
Well, I was going to say, Weghorst is a number 10. I mean, I've never been sure of that one. He did have a great chance.
As a number 10 or a centre forward.
Or as a centre forward, especially in this type of fixture.
Yeah.
But he did have a big chance, Steve, and he missed that chance. And he's used to having chances coming off the left with, making a run on a certain angle towards goal. But that's precisely my point. Now, anybody can miss chances, but he's playing down the middle. He's had one chance. He's been lethal all season. Hardly missed an opportunity. And going down the middle might have been the different angle, might have just been the occasion, might have just been because you missed chances. That's all fine. But none of that, for me, if I was a Manchester United fan, thinking, wow, this could be an area we can hurt Liverpool today. And they go and play him against two really strong, quick, good players. I'm not sure about that at all. In fact, I disagree with that.
I think Michael's exactly right about that. The one thing, the question you asked originally about going to Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester City and getting beat well at Liverpool, getting beat well at Manchester City, a bit closer at Arsenal, of course, was and the missing Casemiro. I think the manager has to learn, when you go to these big grounds, when you go to these better teams, the first thing you have to do is try and stop them. There's no shame in that. I think this manager, as I said before the game, he wants to go toe-to-toe with the big teams. He wants to play like them. He wants to play like Manchester City. But Manchester United don't have to do that. With Sir Alex, when we...
And never have done.
Never have done. When we played, honestly, we went to these big teams. You respect them. You play five in midfield. First and foremost, you stop them because we know how good they can be. And we also know we might get one or two chances, but we've got the players in the team who have the quality to do it. With being in Ajax, obviously the competition isn't quite as good. I think he'll have to learn that the philosophy of Manchester United, it's not, you don't have to go toe-to-toe, you don't have to go to these big teams. Go to Barcelona, didn't kick the ball for 70 minutes, get a 0-0. It's a great result. Going to these places sometimes and drawing a game is a brilliant result if you're looking over the full season. So I think he's going to have to lose that naivety, really, and as you say, Michael, with today, I think especially the team selection wasn't quite right on what we expected.
Interesting. Let's go back to Anfield. Our very own Owen Hargreaves, without an umbrella, he doesn't need a brolly, does he? He's waiting to talk to us. Listen, it's a horrible day for United current players and former players, I guess, to see that unveil in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a surprise. I thought first half, actually, Man United were the better side. I thought the goal came against a run of play. I thought Robertson Gakpo and Harvey Elliott were the only 3 good players that in the first half for Liverpool. I thought United had some good moments, but the second half was an absolute mess. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.